Hi, today is 1st January 2024 AD, the first day in a new year of the Gregorian calendar. The Gregorian calendar counts time beginning from the reported event of the birth of Jesus Christ. In this video, I'll present some information on the history of the Gregorian calendar. Much of this presentation is based on a lecture by Professor C.K. Raju. Links to his video and books are given below this video. The full form of AD is Anno Domini, a Latin phrase that means in the year of the Lord and Dominator. BC means before Christ. That is how we divide time as per the Gregorian calendar, before Christ and Anno Domini. About 48 years before Common Era, Julius Caesar conquered Egypt. With the help of an Egyptian astronomer named Sosigenes, he reformed the Roman calendar. Timekeeping was a random exercise till then. To align the calendar with the equinoxes, they had to let the previous year run for 445 days. The counting of a proper tropical year started only after that adjustment. Now, what is an equinox? Equinox is an important event in a tropical calendar. A tropical year is a way of counting Earth's revolutions around the Sun in such a way that the seasons synchronize with dates. The equinox is a convenient marker of a tropical year. It is a day when day and night are of equal length. That happens twice every year, once when the sun is apparently moving northwards, and the other when the sun is apparently moving southwards. The former is called the vernal equinox. It is the most important astronomical event in the Christian calendar. Easter falls on the first Sunday after the first full moon after the equinox. Many festivities of Christians and Jews are referred to the date of the Easter. The link to a detailed description of some of those festivities is given below. It appears in a separate video. A tropical year lasts for about 365.242 days. Professor C.K. Raju suggests that Romans didn't know fractions. They could not comprehend large fractions. In contrast, Indians could express large fractions as seen in the picture here, where Aryabhata gives the length of a sidereal year. That is the other way of counting Earth's revolution around the Sun. To get over the problem of mathematical illiteracy, suggests Professor Raju, the Egyptians gave them a simple system of 30 and 31 day months. The scheme had 7 30-day months with 5 31-day months. There was supposed to be a leap year every fourth year. Now, how do you fit 365.242 days in a year? By counting full days alone. If you let a year be of 365 days, it still leaves 0.242 days before the equinox occurs again. While the Earth still needs one full day to finish 4 revolutions around the Sun, you would have finished counting 4 years. Her 5th revolution will begin when your calendar shows 2nd of January. How do you fix that? You fix that by having a concept of leap year. Every fourth year, the leap year that has an extra day was added. During Julius Caesar's time, they added the extra day too fast, perhaps reportedly once every 3 years. However, during Augustus Caesar's time, this was corrected to once every 4 years, and the dates began to synchronize well with the season for some time. In the 4th century Nicene Council, the Church adopted this Julian calendar. This was done with a view to fix the date of Easter, which was the most important festival for Christians then. This would have been sufficient modification if the year were of 265.25 days exactly, but it wasn't. The year was of slightly less duration, of 365.242 days. So there was a difference of 0.008 day per year. We will revisit this issue later. As centuries passed, a better understanding of mathematics and astronomy diffused into Europe through the Persians and Arabs. Al-Khwarizmi, after whose name the term algorithm is coined, was one of those who facilitated the spread of Indian knowledge. Gerbert, who was also known as Pope Sylvester, learned Indian arithmetic from Islamic scholars in Cordova and Seville in Spain in late 10th century, around 976 or so. For some time, Europeans believed that there was some magic in the shape of the numerals. Hence, the term Arabic numerals came into being. Nowadays, in many places, we see the term Hindu Arabic numerals. Understanding of Europeans, understanding of modern people has now improved about how the numbers and the mathematics and the mathematical knowledge traversed. European traders who were in contact with North African traders started using Indian mathematics at about this time. Fibonacci's book, Liber Abaci, was one of the early works that introduced Indian mathematics to Europe. Still, it took centuries for that mathematics to become a part of common use. Roman numerals that were in common use didn't quite facilitate computing. Practical mathematics was introduced by Christopher Clavius in Jesuit syllabus in 1572 or so. He was also the one who seems to have authored the Gregorian Calendar reforms. The difference of 0.008 years that we saw above had started making its presence felt as centuries passed. It would build up to a full day in about 100 years. The Earth needs approximately around 36,524.2 days to complete 100 revolutions around the Sun. But the calendar with an extra day every 4 years would need 36,250 days of counting to mark the end of 100 years. If it started with the equinox on 21st March, after 100 years equinox, the day when day and night are equal, would finish one day before, and after 1,000 years it would finish 8 days before, on 30th March, and the seasons would not match with dates. This is exactly what happened after the adaptation of Julian Calendar. The difference became more noticeable toward the end of the 16th century, when the Europeans had far greater contact with the Indian civilization. During that period, towards the end of 16th century, a calendar reforms committee was formed. Pope Gregory was the head pope at that time. Clavius was a member of the 9-strong calendar reforms committee. Pope Gregory accepted the recommendations of the committee and issued the papal bull Inter Gravissimas on 24th February 1582, ordering the introduction of the new calendar on 4th October of the same year. In it, Clavius added some corrections to the leap days. This is how he addressed the issue of accounting for the difference of 0.008. So, even though 100 is divisible by 4, he eventually stipulated that every 100th year would not be a leap year, but every 400th year would be a leap year. That accounted for the duration of the year of 365.2425 days. Thus, 1700, 1800, 1900 were not leap years, but year 2000 was. More interestingly, they cancelled the 10 extra days that had got counted by the turn of the 16th century. For that, they required that after 4th October 1582, the date would jump 10 days and the next date would be 15th October 1582 and not 5th October. The story as to how Clavius's name got to be associated with the calendar reform is both interesting and informative. When Clavius first joined the commission, he was, in comparison to Dante, relative nobody. So his appointment to this high-level commission with its all-star cast was perhaps slightly surprising, writes Tony Christie, a blogger and researcher. Still, Clavius was a member of the Jesuit order. Towards the end of the 16th century, they had established extensive connections with India and Indian knowledge. Clavius' student Matteo Ricci was in Cochin. The picture here shows one of his handwritten letters. Many in Europe didn't accept the reform right away. In fact, they rejected it. Britain accepted them only after 1752. On September 2, 1752, 11 days were skipped so that the next day was dated as 14th September 1752. Other nations too adopted the Gregorian calendar later. Sweden in 1753, Japan in 1873, China in 1912, the Soviet Socialist Republics in 1918, and Greece in 1923. In last few centuries, better instruments, more accurate measurements, and extensive computations have allowed the developed world to improve the Gregorian calendar as a much more accurate and precise timekeeping method. Fast communications have allowed an instant dissemination of computed time over the entire globalized world. The Gregorian calendar is one of the pillars of interaction for the globalized world. The calendar still needs adjustments. Every now and then we add a leap second to our clocks to synchronize them with the Earth's rotation. In London, the previous leap second occurred on Saturday, 31st December 2016. Moreover, as of now, the beginning of neither a day or a month or a year of the Gregorian calendar is aligned with any astronomical event. No wonder our lives are no longer synchronized with nature. That is the thought I want you to take with you. Thanks for listening patiently.